The shocking truth about the Apostle Philip, what the Holy Spirit revealed in the desert at 3 a.m. The air was heavy, thick with unease, as the clock struck 3 in the morning. A piercing silence gripped the vast desert, shattered only by the howling wind. Underneath a sky littered with stars, there stood a figure cloaked in shadows, Apostle Philip. His presence was magnetic, drawing attention like a moth to a flame. Rumors filled the air, whispers of divine revelations, secrets shared by the Holy Spirit amidst the eerie tranquility of the night. As the embers of a dying fire flickered, Philip's breath turned visible in the cold. A moment ago, he was an ordinary man; a moment hence, he was the bearer of extraordinary truths. He felt a tingling at the back of his neck, a sensation that surged through him like electricity. Something was awakening. He knelt on the coarse sand, the gritty texture beneath him grounding him in reality, yet the weight of what he was about to receive threatened to pull him into a different realm entirely. Just around the corner of his vision, shadows flickered. Were they eyes watching him, or merely a trick of the light? The tension twisted his stomach, the hairs on his arms stood at attention. A dark shape moved. Was it a creature, or something otherworldly? The desert was notorious for its strange occurrences. It was said that spirits roamed this land. And tonight, Philip hoped to uncover their secrets. With a heartbeat that echoed like thunder, he closed his eyes. Would he hear the Holy Spirit's voice? Or was this all madness tinged with desperation? Suddenly, a gust of wind rustled through the sagebrush, carrying with it a whisper that seemed to call his name. It felt familiar yet distant, like an echo from a dream. The urgency to understand gripped him tighter. What was the message? Was Cairo a place he should flee to, or was it the same holy place of chaos? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The wind howled again, and Philip's heart raced. The shadows danced dangerously close, yet clarity began to wash over him. He was being called, he could feel it. In that moment, the sand seemed to shift beneath his knees, lifting him slightly as if the earth itself acknowledged his search. The night felt alive, as if it were holding its breath in anticipation of the revelations soon to arrive. But were they divine truths or horrifying secrets? As he opened his eyes, he saw a blinding light emanating from the horizon, illuminating the barren landscape in hues of gold and silver. It pulsed, rhythmic and alive, like a heartbeat. Excitement coursed through him, but so did fear. Would he be prepared to face what came next? This was a moment where clarity met chaos. The questions weighed heavily on his mind. Was this the revelation he sought, or was it a warning, what lay beyond that light? Could it truly be the answers he craved, or were they better left undisturbed? A shiver ran down his spine as he took a step forward, uncertainty swirling like a storm inside him. The light pulsed brighter, and the warmth of its glow seeped into Philip's bones. His heart raced faster, each beat took on a life of its own. What was beyond that light? Clarity and dread twisted together like ivy around a tree, each consuming the other. He had come seeking truth, but now, he felt as if the truth was about to consume him. He dared to step closer, the soft crunch of sand beneath his knees a stark contrast to the mesmerizing glow ahead. The shadows that had flickered around him now shrank back, almost cowering from the light. Fear mingled with intrigue as the whispers grew louder, vibrating against his very soul. They were not merely voices, they were the collective consciousness of long-lost souls, beckoning him to understand. Philip, they chanted in unison, growing clearer with each step. Find the key, find the key. The words echoed through him, bouncing off the walls of his mind. But what key? A key to what? A sense of urgency wrapped around him, even as his instincts screamed at him to retreat. The desert, with all its secrets of ages past, seemed to breathe around him. Philip's hand brushed against something cold and solid in the sand beside him. He paused, heart pounding. He dug with trembling fingers, scooping sand away until he revealed an ancient, rusted key attached to a leather strap. It wasn't just any key, it was engraved with arcane symbols, glinting ominously in the light. An electric charge surged through him. Could this be what the whispers sought? Before he could contemplate further, the ground quaked beneath him. The pulsing light seemed to respond, flickering dangerously as if angered by his discovery. The whispers turned to frantic pleas, "Do not unleash the darkness." He could only take a shallow breath as the trembling beneath him intensified. The shadows shifted, blending into the light, swirling into a vortex of chaos. They twisted and wailed, filling the air with a cacophony of sounds that made his stomach turn. Was the dark shape he sensed earlier now manifesting? Friends, foes, or something worse? He could no longer tell. The whispers turned sharper, slicing through the chaos. Only truths may open the door. Only the pure may dare. They formed a chaotic web around him, attempting to draw him back to safety, to sanity. But he was too far gone, rage and confusion pulling him deeper into the maelstrom. Gripping the key, he lifted it high, a gesture of defiance against the frenzy swirling around him. As the shadows lunged forward with a cacophony of screams, he shouted, "What truth do you demand of me?" It was a challenge shouted into the abyss, demanding clarity amidst the chaos. In that instant, the light exploded, fracturing the desert night with a blinding brilliance. A voice, fierce and divine, erupted from within the eruption. "Open your heart to the burden that waits, or be lost in the dark forever." Time seemed to freeze as the energy surged through him. He could feel connections forming between him and the vast unknown. In that moment, Philip realized the key was not just a physical object but a gateway to understanding the very fabric of existence. Could he trust himself to embark on this spine-chilling journey, with shadows clawing closer and the light threatening to consume him entirely? Philip took one final breath laced with determination as he gripped the key tight. He needed to choose to open the door of truth or face inevitable darkness alone, but as he inhaled, a deeper voice, more profound than before, whispered through the chaos, "Your choice will set the fate of many. What lay ahead would hinge on his next move." Would he unlock the secrets of the night or plunge into oblivion? With the echoes of his heart racing through the desert, Philip stood at the precipice of destiny. What awaited him beyond the light? Only one direction could reveal the truth. The world around Philip shimmered, as if reality itself was bending under the weight of that single moment. The shadow shrieked, terrified of the brilliance that surrounded him, yet drawn to the key that glimmered with potential and peril. His heart hammered in his chest, a primal beat mingling with the terrifying whispers that spun around him like a tornado. "Open your heart, Philip." The chorus grew desperate, echoing through his mind. "Or lose yourself in darkness." It seemed absurd. The weight of the key felt overpowering in his palm, hot and alive. It was not just metal but a conduit of choices. He could sense it, every ancient story locked within it, every fate connected to his decision unfurling like the tendrils of smoke fleeing a fire. The ground convulsed again, sending waves of tremors through his legs. It felt as if the earth was wrestling with itself, unwilling to relinquish its secrets. Shafts of shadow lashed out like serpents, hissing with the threads of anxious energy. Philip stepped back slightly, instinct guiding him, yet his gaze was locked on that radiant glow. The answer beckoned like a long-lost lover. Just breathe, he told himself, yet the air felt dense, stifling even. The cacophony crescendoed, the voices lamented and warned in equal measure. The shrill tones mingled with low, guttural growls, creating a symphony of despair. Only truths may open the door. Their plea wrapped around him a suffocating embrace infused with urgency. They needed him, wanted him to embrace the truth. Was he even worthy? What dark knowledge could he unleash with a mere twist of the wrist? As if responding to his turmoil, the light fractured into shimmering shards, casting rainbows over the chaos. Each fragment illuminated the sand, revealing what lay hidden beneath. Faces formed in anguish, in relief, in hope. Countless souls mirrored his own confusion. Memories began to surge through him, fragments of his past intertwined with those who had walked this path before. A haunting whisper pulled him deeper. "Every truth demands a sacrifice. The word echoed like a drumbeat in his mind, drumming out a rhythm of fear and resolve. What part of himself would he surrender? The courage he summoned wavered, but that tiny spark remained. The world of shadows lurked at the edges, threatening to swallow him whole. Should he turn away now? With trembling hands, he raised the key once more, heartbeat synchronized with the pulsing light. What truths do I hold? What darkness do I fight? He cried out, his voice resonating with anger and defiance. The shadows recoiled at the sound, the swirling tempest stalling for an instant of silence. Then came a reply, a voice booming and radiant. Fear is but a shadow of the truth. Your heart has the power to mend or break. That was it. Could it truly be that simple? The whispers of lost souls softened, allowing him a flicker of clarity, a glimpse into the very rift of existence. Truth was elusive, yes, but maybe, just maybe, it was also liberating. The ground trembled once more, and the shadows inched closer, their intentions darker than he could fathom. The brilliance flared higher, igniting an inferno within him. Would he dare to plunge into the heart of the light? Philip felt a shift within, like a heavy curtain parting to reveal the stage beyond. A decision loomed, a fork in the path. The light was demanding, and as the whispers intensified into a wild frenzy, his instincts screamed at him to act. He took a staggering breath, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The whispers and shadows melded into one overwhelming force, and there, in that pivotal moment, deeply intertwined with all that he was, he understood the moment of truth awaited him, every soul anticipating his choice. Could he harness the key and face whatever lay beyond? He plunged forward. The light expanded, engulfing him whole. There were no turning back now, only forward, and just as he felt the threshold of reality shatter around him, a final whisper broke through, fierce and haunting. Your humanity defines your fate. Will you embrace it? As the darkness converged, he could feel his very essence being pulled apart. What awaited him on the other side would forever alter not just his life but the lives of many. Would he be reborn, or would he face obliteration? The answer loomed just out of reach. Light exploded around Philip, bright and blinding, consuming every corner of his being. The sensation of warmth enveloped him like a cozy blanket, soothing the frayed edges of his anxiety. Yet, underneath that comfort lurked a gnawing question: what was this light meant to unveil? He felt a shift, a restraint on his thoughts, as if the universe itself were weaving a cocoon around the raw essence of his spirit. Fear wrestled with wonder. He could hear echoes of laughter and cries, the vivid lives of spirits rushing past him like shooting stars. They melded into a kaleidoscope of colors, swirling, rich, tantalizing. Yet, amidst it all, a chilling murmur wormed its way into his consciousness. Every choice has a cost. What will you pay? The moment the question settled, reality snapped back into focus. Philip found himself standing on an expansive plate made of glass, suspended above an abyss that stretched into infinity. The clarity of the light had faded into a soft glow, a warm reminder of hope in a landscape of dark chaos. He could feel the key pulsing in his grasp, a heart echoing its desperate beat against his own. A figure loomed in front of him, shrouded in the same light that once filled his surroundings. Its face was obscured, but the warmth radiating from the being felt familiar, comforting yet demanding. Face your truths, it said, the voice layered and echoing as if coming from everywhere at once. You stand at the crossroads of destiny. What will you reveal? Philip took a step forward, the glass beneath him shifting subtly, like the ground ready to crack open. What if I don't know the truth? He wasn't sure where this defiance was coming from, but soon realized it was his own resolve clawing its way to the surface. Then you shall learn, the figure replied, raising an arm with a gesture that seemed to summon the shadows lurking at the edges of the light. They crept closer, whispering and hissing with hungry anticipation. But beware. Some truths can shatter the very foundation of your spirit. His heart raced. It echoed through his chest like thunder, thumping with the raw pulse of fear and curiosity. Show me. He cried out, his voice reverberating off the glass walls, bold yet trembling. I'm ready to embrace whatever lies ahead. The figure's obscured face twisted into what could only be described as a smile. With a flick of its wrist, the shadows surged forward, coiling around him like creeping vines demanding attention. Images burst forth from their depths, memories, both bright and dark. He saw his childhood home, illuminated by sunlight streaming through the windows. Then, it shifted, replaced by visions of abandonment, the hollow echo of laughter fading into despair and anger. Each flash clawed at his insides, tugging at buried emotions he had long tried to forget. You must confront your past to shape your future, the figure said, its presence still holding him steady as time warped around him. What will you take with you, and what must you release? The ground beneath him trembled again, and he could feel the very essence of his choices surging through the ground, mingling with the power of creation. He could sense the weight of the decisions he had made, the regrets entrenched in the fabric of his being. You can't dwell in darkness forever, Philip, the figure instructed, an edge of urgency woven into its words. Only by facing the truth can you reclaim your light. Sweat trickled down his spine. Breathing heavily, he realized the shadows fed on doubt, his past mistakes swirling around him, seeking to root him deeper in fear. Desperation clawed at him, reminding him of every shortcoming. But could he really reshape that narrative? Could he rise from the ashes of his own sorrow? The air thickened with expectation. Philip stood at the edge, heart pounding, navigating the wave of impending dread and the shy promise of hope, his pulse synchronized with the key in his hand, its warmth reminding him of his humanity, vulnerable yet resilient. In this moment of clarity, a spark ignited inside him, a flicker of the truth he had struggled to see. I will not be defined by my past, he whispered, voice steadier than he felt. I embrace my truth. Whatever it demands, I will face it. The figure's features shifted in approval. So be it. Your journey begins now. As the echoes of his declaration faded into the deep abyss below, shadows surged, and light enveloped him once more. In that moment the glass beneath him cracked. And as his world began to reshape, he braced himself for the monumental revelations that would come flooding through the cracks. The darkness trembled. Now, what awaited him might just unravel everything he thought he knew, but as he plunged deeper into the unfolding reality, a troubling question echoed through his mind. Was he truly ready for the weight of the truth, or was he just standing on the brink of disaster? The crack widened, splintering the glass beneath him like a frail ice sheet threatening to give way. With each tremor, dread clawed at Philip's chest. The very fabric of his existence seemed to hang in the balance as he watched shadows seep through the fractures, swirling around him with a palpable hunger. He could almost hear them whispering his name, taunting, beckoning him to delve deeper into his fears. Do you see it now? The truth lies beneath, the figure urged, its voice echoing like thunder through the abyss. Every secret buried will claw its way back to the surface. Are you prepared? Desperation surged within him. I don't know. He shouted, fists clenching around the key, his only anchor amidst the chaotic void. The shadows rippled, eager for his reaction, and the air thickened with an ominous energy he struggled to comprehend. What more could you show me? Look closer, Philip. The figure leaned forward, its obscured features stretching into a semblance of familiarity. What do you hide even from yourself? Suddenly, the ground shifted violently beneath him. The shadows thickened as if trying to pull him down, twisting at his ankles like wispy tendrils of darkness. He gasped, fighting their grip, feeling himself teeter on the edge of oblivion. He had to confront his past. The memories flooding in were like shards of glass, cutting deep into his psyche, echoes of a childhood spent in laughter that frayed into bitterness over the years. Images flashed before him, the warmth of his mother's hugs, the taste of his father's pie at family gatherings, followed by the scream of terrible arguments, silence where there should have been joy. Panic soared inside him. I can't bear to see anymore. His voice echoed, a mix of defiance and fear, pleading for respite. The figure's response was calm, soothing yet unnaturally firm. You must face it all to release it. Your journey does not end here, Philip. What lies beneath is your greatest shadow, but also your greatest light. As the words penetrated his heart, he felt the pulse of the key grow warm in his palm, vibrating with clarity and purpose. A surge of adrenaline coursed through him, igniting dormant courage. Show me! He cried, forcing his voice through the iron grip of fear. I will not let it destroy me. The figure smiled wider, somehow more pronounced. There was both a challenge and a promise in its silence. With a deliberate motion, it illuminated the shadows around him, transforming them into a swirling mass of vivid memories, each more haunting than the last. Every regret, every mistake unfurled before him, wrapping around him, but not as chains. They felt like chances, love unspoken, dreams abandoned. The darkness encasing him began receding, allowing rays of blinding light to burst forth. In the distance, he thought he could see something glimmering, hope? Or perhaps the truth he had locked away tighter than any door. Feel it, Philip. The figure beckoned, urgency threading its voice. What must you forgive? What weight must you release? His breath caught in his throat, the realization crashing over him like a tidal wave. My father, a single name emerged, heavy yet liberating. His father who had only known how to fight rather than love. Yes. The figure responded, resonating with Philip's discovery. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it is freedom. With that spark igniting within him, Philip felt something expansive bloom inside his chest. He closed his eyes, locked onto the memories, ready to embrace the emotion, anger, sadness, longing to finally let them free. The fractured glass erupted beneath him, and he felt weightless as both shadow and light swirled around him, dancing to the rhythm of his heartbeat. He began to surrender to the whirlwind of realization. The truth wrapped itself around him tighter, comforting yet fierce, releasing a symphony of emotions, a potent cocktail of joy and pain. But just as he began to surface, a loud crack reverberated through the universe. Out of the swirling maelstrom of sight and sound, a figure loomed again, the face clearer now, familiar and haunting. You chose this path, or did the path choose you? Chaos roiled once more, and Philip felt himself spiraling. Everything began to spin faster. Was he prepared for what lay ahead, or was he barreling headlong into an abyss larger than he could ever anticipate? The shadows began to reassemble, as the light flickered dangerously, whispering threats of untold truths still waiting in the dark. What would he discover next? And could he still reclaim the parts of himself he thought were lost? The pulse of the key throbbed violently in Philip's hand, as if urging him to make a decision, one that could alter everything. The shadows coiled tighter, wrapping around his limbs, pulling him closer to whatever lay beneath. He strained against them, feeling as though they were not just shadows, but reflections of his own buried fears and regrets, ready to swallow him whole. Stop fighting! The figure shouted, its voice ringing with urgency. You will never find freedom in resistance. With a surge of desperation, Philip surrendered, letting the darkness envelop him. Memories flooded back, sharper and more vivid than before. Flashes of his childhood echoed painfully, laughter dimming into arguments, innocence fading to bitterness. He could smell the stale air of the old house, see the broken frames hung on the walls, remnants of a family once whole. Each detail hit him like a slap, forcing the breath from his lungs. Why did you leave? The question ripped from his heart, raw and unfiltered. It was directed at the figure, but it also dove deep into his own uncertainty. Why was it so hard to love? For a moment, the shadows stilled, and a pulse of silence enveloped him. Then, with unnerving calmness, the figure stepped closer, its features shifting, morphing into those he thought he had lost. Familiar eyes flicked open, piercing through the layers of darkness. Sometimes love is misunderstood, it said, voice soft yet powerful. It is laced with flaws, but it does not waver in its depth. Philip felt an electric jolt race through him. What do you mean? He asked, the air thickening with hope as it mingled with doubt. Your truth is fragmented, the figure replied. But it can heal, if you learn to see it as a whole. You must confront the pain first. The shadows pulsated, reminding him of everything he had tried to forget. What else must I face? He murmured, shaking. What else will it take? Forgiveness is a journey, the figure explained, a flicker of compassion in its gaze. You cannot forgive until you fully understand the impact of the hurt. It shapes you, but it does not have to define you. The overwhelming sensation of fear threatened to crush him. Yet, as he grappled with the edges of those heavy emotions, a sliver of clarity emerged. I have to do this, he declared defiantly, inhaling deeply. The fire inside him grew. He wanted to expose the demons, to confront the stories he had woven into his identity. Just then, the shadows released him, parting like a dark curtain to unveil a flickering light in the distance. A soft glow beckoned him, pulsating with warmth. It felt alive. It felt like freedom. His heart raced with anticipation, but lurking beneath was an anxious tremor. What if it was nothing more than a lie? Follow it, the figure commanded, stepping aside to reveal the path. But be prepared. Not everything that shines is pure. With trepidation, Philip took a step forward. And then another. The light pulled him closer, illuminating faces, moments of laughter and heartbreak alike. Each photograph he could never tear from his memory surfaced his father's face in agony, his mother's sorrowful gaze, family gatherings stifled by tension. But as he walked deeper into the light, echoes of laughter joined the fray. Faces of friends long forgotten sparkled behind the veil, memories sprouting hope he thought he had lost. In an instant, the warmth turned to burn. A chilling laugh rippled through the air, twisting into something sinister. He froze, the shadows regrouping, closing in from all sides. The light flickered, wavering like a candle in a storm. Panic surged again. Was he truly prepared to unravel this darkness, or was it ready to consume him once more? Remember, Philip, came the ominous voice of the figure, now echoing like a distant memory. The darker the night, the brighter the light. With his heart pounding in his ears, Philip steeled himself. He was standing at the precipice of truth, ready to leap. But what awaited him on the other side? The whispers echoed more ferociously. Shadows danced ominously, and doubt crept back in, threatening his fragile resolve. Would he sacrifice everything, only to be left with more questions? And just when it seemed that the light would die out, a new figure emerged from the depths, shrouded in shadows, slowly stepping into the glow. Philip inhaled sharply. Who were they? And what secrets did they carry? The figure stepped into the light, casting a long shadow over Philip's fear-stricken face. As they emerged, the outline shifted in abrupt clarity, revealing a woman with a hauntingly familiar face. It was Lily, his sister, the one he had fought and lost and mourned so deeply. Lily? His voice cracked, wavering between disbelief and hope. Yes, Philip, she answered, her tone soft but edged with urgency. You've forgotten more than you think, and now you must remember for us. Her presence stirred an intense wave of emotion within him, crashing against the defenses he had built. Memories of laughter and bedtime stories flashed through his mind. They tumbled together in a chaotic dance of joy and sorrow, blurring the lines of connection he had long severed. Why are you here? What do you want from me? He stammered, battling tears. Not from you, brother, she said, stepping closer, her voice an echo of warmth. For you. You need to confront what you've buried. As if conjured by her words, the shadows twisted angrily, writhing back and forth, as if protesting the light they couldn't touch. Philip's heart raced as the atmosphere thickened, wrapping around him tightly like a cold steel band. Face it, Lily urged, her gaze piercing past the layers of darkness. You're standing at the edge of the truth, but you can't see it. The pain, the anger, you can't let it fester any longer. Philip felt a tremor surge through him, the shadows recoiling in response to his inner turmoil. But what if it hurts too much? He whispered, his voice trembling. That's the point, she replied sharply, her eyes glimmering with a fierce intensity. Healing is painful. But staying trapped is worse. You need to break free. Without warning, the chilling laughter returned, a cold breeze sweeping through the light, threatening to extinguish it. Philip recoiled, fear gnawing at his insides. I don't think I can. I can't go back. Then you will never escape. Lily's voice rose above the chaos, cutting through the noise with clarity. Remember what was lost, let that drive you. It's time to reclaim your life. With a desperate resolve, fueled by her unwavering conviction, Philip stepped forward, breaking the hold of the shadows. I'll do it. I'll face the truth. The moment the words escaped his lips, the air shifted. The darkness began to wane, retreating like a tide. For every step he took toward Lily, a flicker of light ignited within him, pushing the shadows further away. Good, she smiled, her face glowing with pride. But you have to remember everyone involved. Every moment. Do you understand what that means? Yes. He shouted, the conviction drowning out the laughter that sought to envelop him again. He turned, determined, ready to confront the images beginning to form back in the darkness. Then let us go, Lily urged, holding out her hand. Together. As their fingers barely brushed against each other, a sudden rippling force shot through the air like a lightning strike. The glow dimmed, flicking erratically like a dying star. A dark figure loomed behind Lily, monstrous and shadowy, its presence an uninvited guest. It oozed menacing energy, its laughter echoing through their connection. "Watch out!" Philip shouted, instinctively reaching for Lily, but the shadows wrapped around her, pulling her back into the void. "No! Don't let it take you!" He lunged, desperate. But the darkness had already claimed her, leaving behind an emptiness, a haunting whisper. Remember, the final word lingered in the air like a haunting melody, fading rapidly. Philip stood frozen, torn between despair and determination, the light flickering ominously around him. "Lily! Don't go!" He yelled into the deepening shadows, with his heart racing uncontrollably. He had to make a choice. Would he follow the retreating darkness for answers or stand firm against the sinister forces threatening to consume everything he had begun to reclaim? A piercing dread surged anew as the laughter echoed deeper. Whatever awaited him, he was unprepared. The battle within was just beginning, and questions loomed like storm clouds. Overhead. Can he truly unearth the past? The shadows murmured, building an eerie crescendo. Or will it bury him once and for all? The atmosphere crackled with tension as Philip felt the last remnants of Lily's warmth dissolve into the churning shadows. He stood there, his stomach knotting with dread, staring into the thickening darkness. Each flicker from the light whispered the echoes of dread and despair, yet some hidden ember within him burned with stubborn hope. "Lily," he gasped, but the name was swallowed by the consuming shadows. Desperation flooded through him. He had a choice now: you either give in to fear or step into the unknown. And the unknown called to him, like a siren song, promising answers long buried. With a deep breath, Philip summoned courage and ventured into the darkness. Each step was treacherous, as if he were walking on the edge of a chasm, the void beneath threatening to swallow him whole. Names, faces, memories began to swirl around him, reminders of happier times intertwined with the chaotic moments of pain. Every laugh, every tear, every bitter goodbye. "Face it. Remember." Lily's words rang like bells in his ears, echoing through the murky labyrinth he now navigated. Would he find some semblance of truth, or would the shadows consume him entirely? The laughter grew louder, a cacophony of taunts and jeers, spiraling around him, mocking him. Yet in the center of it all, a whisper slipped through, a familiar voice, soft and vulnerable. Philip, his heart raced. "Lily?" he called, straining to listen, searching for the source of the haunting sound. "Remember what I told you?" Around him, the shadows began to shift, twisting like figures performing a sorrowful dance. Was it an illusion? Or were they memories trying to surface? Each frame flickered with painful clarity, but he grasped at them in confusion. His childhood, a backyard, laughter shared, only to be quickly eclipsed by darker moments, obscured by guilt. He cried out, "I'm trying. Tell me what I must do." Silence fell suddenly, a heavy pause that pressed down on him. Then, out of that stillness, a shadow emerged from the dark, taking shape, an outline of a man. The figure stepped closer, his features slowly coming into focus, revealing a face that twisted Philip's gut with recognition. A man he had once loved, now twisted by betrayal. "Father," Philip uttered, the word tasting bitter on his tongue. "What do you want?" His father hissed, eyes burning with anger. "You chose to forget us." The surface of Philip's mind erupted, emotions bubbling over in a violent wave as years of buried resentment came crashing down. "I didn't forget. I buried it. I buried you because you hurt me. You ran away from the truth." His father roared, the shadows around them pulsing like a beating heart. "And now you can't escape what you made." "I tried," Philip yelled, shaking with anger and fear. "Then face it. You think confronting it will free you? You're nothing without it." The darkness twisted, feeling deeper and more oppressing, as memories of anger and betrayal mounted like an avalanche. His father's sharp words, the heart-wrenching split, Lily's frightened eyes witnessing the fallout. "No. I won't let you control me." Philip shouted back, feeling the surge of strength rising within him, and just like that, the shadows howled, shrinking away momentarily from the intensity of his defiance. He could see a flicker of light ahead, beckoning like hope amidst despair. "Lily!" He roared, remembering her support, her belief that he could overcome. "I will find you." With newfound resolve, he plunged forward, not knowing what lay ahead but ready to confront the fractured pieces of his past. As he barreled through the flickering shadows, a piercing scream erupted in the void, morphing the air around him into a suffocating silence. Shadows closed in, threatening to pull him back once more. Will he embrace the light or be devoured by the dark? The question echoed, leaving Philip to wonder if this would be a turning point or the end of everything he once knew. The next step could ground him, or plunge him into catastrophic chaos. Time was slipping through his fingers, and he could feel the shadows coiling, tightening around him. The fight was far from over. Philip rushed into the light, driven by a primal instinct. The flicker before him pulsated, casting away shadows as if pushing through a thick veil of despair. He stumbled forward, feeling the cold grip of darkness release its hold, but the echoes of his father's accusations still rattled in his mind. The light enveloped him, morphing into a serene scene. It was a meadow, sun-drenched and alive with buzzing bees and colorful wildflowers. A stark contrast to the suffocating shadows he had just escaped. But something felt off. An unease slithered through this paradise, like the steady thrum of a storm simply waiting to pass. "Lily?" he called, his voice trembling. "Where are you?" Silence settled over the meadow, thick and oppressive. The only sound was the wind rustling through the grass, whispering secrets meant for him alone. Then he caught sight of a figure at the edge of the clearing. His heart leaped. Was it her? As he moved closer, the figure turned. It was not Lily. A girl with dark hair stood there, her eyes glinting with a mix of recognition and sorrow. "Philip," she said softly, her voice a haunting melody. "You're here. Who are you?" He felt a mix of hope and dread. "I'm Sarah, Lily's sister." His heart sank. "Where is she?" "Philip, you have to understand. This is all connected. Your past, her absence, it's all intertwined." Sarah's gaze bore into his, unyielding. "You need to confront what you've buried." "Confront?" he echoed, stuck between disbelief and desire to escape the truth. "I thought I was done with the past. I just want to save Lily." "You can't save her until you face what you've done," Sarah insisted, stepping closer. "You're running from the answers, and they're right here." Sweat beaded on Philip's forehead. He felt the shadows creeping back, ready to pull him under again. "What do I need to do?" "Remember the day she left," she urged. Her voice shook with emotion. "Remember the anger, the fear, the choices you both made." "Stop." He grabbed his head, overwhelmed by the memories, fingers clenching as the world around him spun. "They haunt you," Sarah said gently, "but they will also set you free. You just have to let them in." The meadow shifted like a dream. Colors dimmed, and the warmth of the sun faded, replaced by a chilling fog that closed in around them. Philip's chest tightened as he felt the shadows gathering, stirring with malice. "Lily needs you to find her," Sarah shouted over the rising wind, her form flickering like a candle about to extinguish. "Wait!" he cried out as she began to fade. "Please don't go." But she was gone, and the meadow turned into a cold, stark version of the life he had left behind. It felt familiar, but wrong, like a twisted mirror reflecting rude memories. An echo of laughter pierced the silence, and Philip spun around. There stood Lily, not the girl he remembered, but a ghostly version, her smile beautiful, yet sorrowful. "Philip," she said, her voice breaking through the fog. "You have to choose." "Choose?" Panic gripped him. "What do you mean?" "Your past or your future," she replied, an urging anguish in her eyes. "Find me. Don't let them win." The darkness loomed ever closer, creeping along the edges of this fleeting moment. Philip could feel the pressure building, the weight of the decisions he had avoided crashing down on him. His heart raced, and with a desperate cry, he lunged forward, reaching for her, but just as he grasped at the light, it shattered into swirling fragments, echoing like glass against stone. The shadow surged forward, engulfing him in a whirlwind of darkness. "Lily!" he screamed, feeling himself being dragged back into despair, and then, a voice exploded in his mind, his father's voice, echoing not just accusations but questions. What will you choose, Philip? The past keeps you, or do you dare to embrace the unknown? The shadows tugged at him, and he braced against the pull, feeling both lost and desperate. Can he confront the truth, or will he sink into annihilation? The question hung ominously as the darkness clawed at him, demanding surrender. What would he discover in the depths of his own heartbreak? What rebellion would emerge from the ashes of his grief? As the shadows writhed around him, Philip felt a surge of determination. Where darkness wished to swallow him whole, he would ignite a fire to light the way. No more fear, he bellowed, his voice echoing against the void. I will reclaim my narrative. With every ounce of strength, he pressed forward, fighting against the pull of the murky abyss that threatened to engulf him. Suddenly, he was floating between two worlds. Memories flickered around him like fireflies, illuminating the path behind him. Laughter, joy, and shadows of sorrow intertwined in a chaotic dance. He felt the pull of nostalgia as images of Lily's infectious smile blurred with the wreckage of their shared past, but something deeper stirred. Philip focused on the pain, not to relive it, but to understand it. He brought his thoughts to the day everything fell apart, the bitter words lost to the wind, the shadows that clouded their bond. I won't run from this, he screamed, as if addressing the darkness itself. Lily needs me to remember, and I choose to remember. In that moment of clarity, the memories twisted, reshaping themselves into a bridge of faint glow beckoning him forward. Philip took a shaky step toward the light, letting the weight of his past wash over him. He felt anger, resentment, even guilt, but now they were threads woven into a larger tapestry that told his truth. Each step resonated, connecting him both to his childhood laughter and the tears that followed. Lily! He called out, and the sound rippled through the darkness. I'm here. I'm fighting for you. With each declaration, the shadows receded, their grip loosening as his resolve grew. This wasn't just about the past, it was about healing and embracing the love that still flickered like a flame in his heart. He felt the warmth of the emerging glow merging with his memories, and for the first time, he allowed courage to lead him, fueling the light until it almost felt tangible like a glowworm guiding him home. As he pushed deeper into the illuminated haze, fragments of his connection to Lily flooded his mind. He remembered her laughter cascading through the hall, racing each other to complete their puzzles, the warmth of her hand in his on long summer nights. Yes, they had their fights, their agers, their losing battles, but love remained intertwined with all that chaos. Then, before him, he sensed her presence again. You finally see, don't you? The familiar voice enveloped him like a soft embrace. Lily! He cried, relief flooding through him. I'm so sorry. For everything. You can't change what was, she replied gently, stepping closer, her form shimmering in the light. But you can change what happens next. Philip's heart raced. The shadows began to unravel, like tendrils released from a spell. Do you remember our dreams? The ones we shared? He asked. To explore, to break boundaries? Yes, she whispered, joy mingling with melancholy in her eyes. And those dreams don't have to die here. With newfound strength, he grasped for her hand, but the darkness still slithered close, trying to coax him into despair. I will face the truth, no matter the cost, he declared, the words hurling out like thunder. The shadows recoiled with a screech, revealing a cracked ground beneath them. Moments burst forth from the depths, each carrying a piece of their story. Together? He asked hesitantly. Always, she affirmed, and they braided their fingers, igniting a surge of warmth that ignited the path between them. As they pressed forward, visions cascaded through the ever-weakening veil of shadows, the moments he cherished, the mistakes that birthed their sorrow. Each memory he faced flickered and faded away, replaced by healing fragrances that mingled with forgotten laughter and love long buried. Forgive, Philip, her voice urged, as they navigated the remnants of his past. Forgive your father, forgive yourself. Only then can you truly find peace. The shadows fizzled at the edge of their light as Philip embraced the last remnant of despair, his anger towards his father. His heart ached as he whispered a prayer for understanding, for healing. I forgive you, Dad. I understand now, but I can't let your pain be my weight. I will carry my past, not as a burden but as a lesson. My heart is more than the sum of my sorrow. A shattering sound erupted around him, and for an instant, he feared the shadows would reclaim him. But darkness could not quell the light that surged wildly within. "I choose love," he cried, rippling through the air, scattering shards of darkness as though they were mere whispers in a tempest. As the last remnants of the shadows vanished, a new horizon appeared, golden and steadfast, a pathway forged by forgiveness and understanding. "Together we'll move forward," Lily assured, and side by side, they surged into the brilliant light, each step a promise, a celebration of the truth they had chosen over fear. In that moment, Philip knew he was reborn. It wasn't an end but a beginning. And whatever adventure awaited him, his heart carried the likes of love, pain, and resilience forged into something beautiful. They emerged into reality, a warm landscape kissed by the sun and an open sky. Peace filled the air, but the giggle of the breeze whispered promises of more to come. Together, they turned toward the horizon, hearts beating with renewed purpose. "Let us discover the unknown," he whispered, finally at peace with himself. Together. As they walked forth, a sense of wonder washed over him. He was ready for whatever lay ahead. And now, if you love this gripping journey and want to keep riding this incredible wave of stories, you need to subscribe now. Don't get left in the shadows. Smash that like button as it feeds this awesome algorithm that keeps these tales coming. I want to hear from you. Flood the comments section and share your thoughts, reactions, and theories about the ending. And don't forget to share this with at least 5 friends who really need to experience this moment. This is the moment to show your support, so don't wait even one more second.